Hiya! Mexico City is the second most populated city in the world, famous for its endless cultural options and traffic. If you're not from around, let me help you make your stay more pleasant by explaining a bunch of the locals' ways and giving you key tips to eat, shop, and travel smoothly. Usually, the biggest concern when traveling to Mexico is safety. Mexico is generally perceived as a dangerous place with a lot of criminal activity. To be fair, there is crime in Mexico, but as in any other countries in the world, these occur in very specific areas, and by following basic safety guidelines, you will avoid it. For instance, keep an eye on your belongings. Be aware of pickpockets. Do not walk alone in a dark alley in the middle of the night. Do not go out flashing your jewelry, and avoid known problematic areas. Moving around Mexico City could be a big challenge due to its size and chaotic nature. It is so densely populated that regular roads were insufficient and overpasses had to be built. And more recently, a cable car was installed to reach the furthermost neighborhoods in the hilly outskirts of the neighboring state of Mexico. Over 20 million people live in the metropolitan area of Mexico City, and many come from long distances to work in the city, contributing to the everyday chaos. The urban mass is so wide that the city and towns around it have completely merged in some areas. So, to find your way in the city, let's begin with the public transport. We have a variety of options, starting with shuttles, of which we have many types. Blue ones are trolleybuses, working with electricity. They commonly circulate in opposite sense to the traffic. Green ones are RTPs, and they have these initials on the side. Purple ones are privately operated, and they are more expensive than the others. All of these operate either with the city's mobility card or with cash. Just notice that you must have the exact fare because they don't give change and they don't accept credit cards. There are also microbuses, for short, micros or rutas. They come in many colors, but they are identifiable by an inverted triangle with the word ruta and a number underneath. These buses operate only with cash, and you must tell the driver where you're getting off as you board to be charged. Combis, which are passenger vans, operate in this same way. These two options tend to be slow, crowded, and unpredictable, so I wouldn't recommend them as a first option. A special type of transport is the Metrobus, a red, long, articulated bus that is quite efficient, because it has a designated lane and fixed stops, which most of the time are elevated and in the middle of the street. These operate only with the mobility card, which you can buy and add credit to in machines inside the station. Just notice that you can only buy them in the machines that say comprar, and this is the card that you need to use in all other transports in the city. Another special characteristic of this transport is that buses have a designated area exclusive for women and the elderly, which is most of the times in the front, and you will recognize it because the seats are pink. Then there is the metro, our underground system, which is not always under the ground. This might be the fastest way to move in the city. It connects the most important corners, and many attractions are at walking distance from the stations. Avoid it during peak times as it gets overcrowded. It operates with the mobility card or with tickets, which you can buy inside the stations, in the machines, or in the ticket office respectively. Also look here for the designated spaces only for women and the elderly, which are usually in the front wagon. Similar to the metro, there is the light train. This transport runs on tracks in the surface, and it only covers a short transect of 13 kilometers in the south of the city, from Tasqueña in Tlalpan Avenue to Xochimilco. You can also use your mobility card for it and there are machines to buy and add credit inside its stations. If you feel like exercising, another good option to move around the city, particularly in touristic areas, are shared bicycles. In certain areas of the city, you will find stops like this, from where you can take one and return it in another location. And with the same card, you can get them. Or, if you prefer, you can download the app EcoBici. And the last transport you can have access to with the mobility card is the Cablebus, which covers only a few areas of the city. If you want a bit more of comfort or need to reach your destination quickly, you can always take a taxi or an Uber. Uber works with the app as in everywhere else, but at busy times, like at the end of a big event or during heavy rain, the prices could be extremely expensive. As in other cities, you should be alert with taxis. Always check the registration plates. They must start with A, B, or E, and be followed by 4 numbers and 1 letter, meaning that they have a registered license. Also, when you get in, check that the taximeter is running. Notice that these rules do not apply to yellow cabs or airport taxis. And of course, you can always drive. In general, driving in the city can be complicated, especially if you are not familiarized with the unwritten rules. For instance, say you want to change lanes, so you use your indicator and get into the gap left, right? No way. People are tired and rushing to get somewhere, so they will perceive this as you are getting in their way, and they will close the gap instead. This could be particularly frustrating during traffic jams. And to overcome this, people change lanes without notice, or pushing their cars slowly until the car on the side has no choice but to let them through. Another way is to ask politely by taking your hand outside the window and wave it in front of the car so they don't close the gap. Be particularly careful with taxis, buses, and motorcycles, because they could be the most reckless drivers and you don't want to get involved in any accident, as it would cost you several hours to sort out. Also, be careful not getting inside exclusive lanes for the Metrobus or other buses, or blocking cycling lanes. Something else you need to consider about Mexico City is its altitude, especially if you come from an altitude close to sea level. At 2,240 meters above sea level, the change in air pressure and lower oxygen concentration can produce headaches, fatigue, dizziness, and a short breath sensation. If you start feeling unwell, take it easy for a few days while you get used to it. And now, some considerations on drinks and food. Tap water cannot be drank in many areas of Mexico. To be safe, drink purified water that you can get in big bottles from the supermarket. But something that you must definitely try is aguas frescas or aguas del día. These translate as fresh water or water of the day. In Mexico, we drink water mixed with juice of a wide variety of fruits, some of which I bet you haven't had before. In this warm weather, you need to be hydrated, and this is a great way to do it. You can have a glass for yourself or a jar for everyone in the table. Mexican food is truly amazing, and within the city, you can find a wide variety of dishes from all over the country. However, one thing that many of them share is that they have chili somewhere, either as a side or within the meal. If you are not used to having spicy food, it's better to try little by little and always ask your server. But the right question is not if it is spicy. Mexicans will say it is not spicy, or it is just a bit spicy. What you should ask is if it has chili. And if you're not used to it, ask if the chili can be put on the side so you can add it slowly and see how you feel. In many restaurants and stands, chili comes as a sauce that you can add freely. In these cases, ask which one is less spicy and try a small amount first. You will likely have totopos as a courtesy. You can use them for chili tasting. If you find yourself in trouble, remember that alcohol or fizzy drinks will make the burn worse, and that milk or milk cream will give you some relief. Anyways, don't be scared. I encourage you to try as many different dishes as you can, because the Mexican cuisine is the only one in the world declared as cultural heritage by UNESCO. If you want to mingle with the locals, there is one eating tradition that I adore: wishing something good to complete the strangers. In a restaurant, when you're about to leave after finishing your meal, you say to the next table, "Provecho," which means enjoy. Next up, a shopping reflection. You will certainly be buying some nice souvenirs at some point during your trip. If you see something you like, have a look at the price tag if you can. If not, ask for the price. But be careful that the seller is not increasing the price, especially if they notice you are a tourist. A strategy could be to ask for the price of different items, including the one you're after. There is a delicate balance between paying a fair price, being overcharged, and devaluating an artisan's work, for which the assistance of a guide could be very useful. Hopefully these tips will help you make your visit more pleasant. And if you want to discover more about Mexico, watch the video we made about Mexico City Center. Subscribe and contact us to experience the real Mexico in the best way. Bye now!